Okay, here we go again.
And I won't back down. Break my will. I've bled for this. I've paid the bill. Justice ain't a game, it's a fight I choose, and I will never lose. Like a whisper through the dark, like a storm that splits the sky. When I scream, the world will listen, hear the battle cry.
I'm all messed up right now, so let's see. Okay. In any case, as I've learned I must do, I must state the basic purpose of this podcast before I get too carried away, as I always do. So, I'm addressing this podcast towards the City of Peterborough, Ontario, Canada. And I'd like to speak about the park down by the marina, which is down on Water Street. And I will try to keep my comments as pragmatic as possible. And I don't have any video. Don't have any video right now of the park. I need to get a GoPro. That'll be an improvement. In any case, I want to speak about all of the geese, the ducks, all the birds down at the park, and obviously, I haven't counted them. I don't even know if that's possible, but if there's not hundreds of them, there is close to 1,000 of them, depending on the time of day and so forth and so forth. And the grounds down at the park and the beach are just covered in shit. I think I can spell it, but I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say it on YouTube. In any case, it's just an effing mess. I was down there one day, I don't know, a month ago, and it was a nice sunny day, and this little fellow, I don't know, 7 or 8 or 9 years old, came up to his mom and dad, and he had slipped and fallen on the ground, and he was literally covered in green goose shit. It just a blasted mess. And I'm not against nature. I actually love nature. It's I have a very nice, call it a cottage, call it a summer home, not here, at another location. And it's probably valued at 1.2 million. It's very nice. It's on a major lake, and it's fun to head up there on the weekend. I haven't been up in a while, but it's nice just to sit there and especially at night. It's dark, it's quiet, it's cool, and in the fall there's no bugs. And just to look up at the stars, it's really, really nice. As opposed to down here in Peterborough, even at middle of the night, it's difficult to see the stars. You can see the major planets and the moon, of course, but no, I love nature. It's great. I am not a proponent of hunting and shooting, all this sort of thing, but I understand that people pay a lot of money to acquire their hunting or their game licenses and so forth. So I'm not going to address that. But I am going to address the effing mess down at the park. It is a huge frigging mess. And so, as always, I'm going to ramble, and I'm going to try to keep this podcast under an hour, which is unlikely, but I'm going to try. In any case, let me look at some of my notes. I have millions of notes, and I'm not going to get to half of them. So, I'm going to make an assumption that the City of Peterborough owns the park. And as such, I'm going to make an assumption that any risk occurred or assumed at the park is owned by the City of Peterborough. And I'm going to make an assumption that the Peterborough Marina Park is municipally owned land. And so from my research, this means I'm going to read a lot of this. I'm going to ad-lib some of the comments, but I'm going to read some of this because it's important. So municipally owned land means that, from my understanding, the city is responsible for maintenance, sanitation, environmental safety, public health compliance, hazard mitigation, event permitting. The city is probably responsible for a lot more, but I'm leading to a point, and the point is that I feel there's a huge liability to the city from the grounds being covered in SHIT from all these birds. Okay, so let me continue. The question arises if the city knows the grounds are contaminated with goose, duck feces, and they do. They can't avoid it. They have to know. Then they do have a duty of care. And this duty of care would be to clean the grounds, to mitigate this friggin' mess, to put up signage, to warn the public, to potentially restrict access, or to take reasonable steps to reduce the risk. If they don't do this, if they fail to do this, I believe they leave themselves open to a negligence claim. Now, I'm not sure exactly what the legal terminology would be for that negligence claim. It might be foreseeable harm. Something like that. Ontario negligence law revolves around one core idea from what I could pick up on the internet. If harm is foreseeable and the responsible party does nothing, they can be, it doesn't say they are, it says they can be liable. So my question is harm foreseeable here? And I don't think anybody could deny that foreseeable harm and damage and health risk and potential physical harm is foreseeable. When I saw, unfortunately, I wasn't fast at the draw. I always carry a video camera, of course, my cell phone. But if I'd been a little bit quicker and a little bit more truculent, a little more aggressive, I'd have got my camera out and taken a video of that little boy who fell and was covered in green, disgusting, vomitous goose crap. But I wasn't. I felt bad for the little guy. I felt bad for the mom and dad. I mean, it was just plain disgusting. In any case, I didn't get a video of it, and I should have, but I didn't. I have a heart. I can't try to take advantage when someone else is in distress, and that was distress. In any case, doing my internet research is at times the best I can do. So, goose, duck, bird feces contain, from what I can find, E. coli, salmonella, a thing called Campylobacter, Lobacter, Campylobacter? All right. Garandia, Cryptosporidium, Cryptosporidium, fungal spores, and these can produce gastrointestinal illness, respiratory irritation, infections, asthma flare-ups, skin reactions, and other complications. I'm not a medical doctor or an immunologist, so I'm not sure what the potential ramifications of some of these things are. But for those of us who follow public events or current events, know that the City of Toronto shuts down the beaches regularly during the summer because of E. coli and salmonella caused by the excrement of these birds. And if you were to go down to the beach at the marina in Peterborough, there's excrement floating all over the beaches. It's like a sewer. There's no other words for it. It's an open sewer. And it's disgusting. It stinks. And it's a hazard. And no one does anything about it that I'm aware of. Now, I'm not sitting down there 24/7. I don't know if the city or any environmental agency comes in and does anything. I don't know. But from when I'm there, I can see the excrement, the crapola on the ground remains. And I spoke to one of the workers down at the pier, and I was told they spend the mornings washing the bird poop off the walkways. Well, that's a wonderful waste of taxpayer money, but I'm sure it's inevitable. It has to be done, but I'm sure there's time better spent, or better ways to spend time than to wash this duck poop off everything every single morning. In any case, the city must know that this issue exists. They must. They absolutely 100% must know. And somebody other than myself must have said or brought up the issue of health. If they haven't, I can't believe it. I just can't come to grips that this wouldn't be a part of the internal public dialogue about the park. In any case, so yes, foreseeable harm does exist. I don't think there's anybody can deny that the potential for harm exists at this park. Now, let's talk about the events. The events that are held at the park, primarily during the summer months. I'm not sure if the city permits events past the summer months, but it may. In any case, let's talk about the event angle or perspective. Liability increases when the city permits events. This is where things get interesting. And I would enjoy having a lawyer or a couple of lawyers discuss this in a podcast. But in any case, if the city approves an event, and I can't imagine for a picosecond that any event is going to occur at the park without an event permit. And I am going to make an assumption that these permits are accompanied with a financial compensation package to the town, to the city. I don't believe the city does anything for free. If there's an event, a permit would have been issued and fees collected from the event creator or provider. And there may potentially be multiple permits. There may be an event permit. There may be vendor permits. I'm not sure, but assuredly, the City of Peterborough does not allow occurrences to happen without them being compensated. And this is where it gets legally interesting, and the city increases their exposure to liability. So let's keep going. Now, because the city isn't inviting the public, but the city, in a haphazard way, is saying to the event coordinators and or the vendors, we concur and allow the public to come into this environmental situation where there is a known hazard. And it may be even a hazard and a biohazard. It may be complicated or duplicated. This, from my research, is called occupier's liability. So I'm going to make an assumption that not only is the city liable, but potentially the company or organization or the people who have applied for the permit, they're liable, and potentially any vendors there, if they are there under a permit, they would be liable. So we're going to kind of a full span outreach liability, which potentially includes physical harm, in other words, people slipping and hurting themselves on this mass of slippery, greasy, grimy duck crap or goose poop, and the environmental health hazard of ... I'm going to get to that. Okay, as I keep saying most. I believe that my fellow people in Peterborough are reasonably astute and listen to the news and read and understand things. That when poop hits the ground, it's a combination of fecal matter and urine, or something like that. And when it starts to dry out, it becomes dust, or it turns into particulates. And some of you have seen images of these chicken farms when person X goes out to feed the chickens. You see this massive cloud of dried chicken poop and feces and everything else. And same thing with this goose and duck and bird situation at the park. When the initial duck poop hits the ground, it's liquid, messy garbage, and in time it turns into dust. And the wind blows the dust up in the air. People walking turns the dust up into the air. It becomes something that people ingest. They breathe it in, just like dog poop or cat poop. It eventually dries up and turns into dust, and people breathe it in. This is not healthy. It's not healthy. It's just plain friggin' not healthy. And people are breathing this in. Now, go back a little bit further. People go to a venue. I don't care what it is. They go to a venue at the park. They're walking in this garbage, call it poop. They're carrying this excrement back into their vehicles, is potentially getting tracked back into their homes. Some people don't take off their shoes when they go in their homes. Some don't. And this ends up into the carpets and the floors. I mean, they're just carrying excrement into their homes and into their lives. That's part of it. So let's go back to people going to the park. They go to a vendor. I don't know what the vendor is supplying. Let's just be hypothetical. I don't go to the park. I think it's a biohazard. I think it's insanity. You're just asking to get sick. So I don't go. But I go out, walk around during the day on the walkways and look. That's the extent of and I walk down to the beach to see all this excrement floating all over the beaches in the water. But let's say there's a vendor down there, and let's say the vendor is selling drinks or slushies or ice in a cup, or hot dogs or something like that. Then potentially all that goose poop dust potentially, pragmatically, is all over the food and people are eating it. This is not a dream, it's real. This is happening. So we're leading to a situation that is insane. So we lead to another point, and that's the City of Peterborough's perhaps the largest vulnerability they have is failure to warn the public. And let's even go further. Just leave it as failure to warn, because perhaps the people applying for a permit to put on a venue, maybe they're not aware of the situation. And are they being informed? And is the public, are people coming to the venue from Peterborough, are they warned? Or are people coming from Burleigh Falls, Apsley, Bancroft, are they coming from Toronto or the GTA? Are they warned? Maybe the people in Peterborough are aware of this excrement problem. Maybe. But are people being bussed in? Are they aware of it? And is the city giving ample, sufficient warning to these people that there's they're potentially walking and sitting in excrement. I don't know. There are multiple access ways, call it ports if you wish, to get into the park. It's not like the city has it fenced off and there's only one access way. Basically the park has unfettered, unlimited access by anyone, basically. So I haven't seen the city post one sign. I haven't read any social media post. I've seen nothing that comes from the city or anyone saying that you're sitting at this venue, you're sitting in SHIT, you're walking in SHIT, you're sucking in dried SHIT dust. I haven't seen anything. It may be there, but I haven't seen it. And if I haven't seen it, then how many, if it exists, there must be other people that haven't seen it. So, I have seen no signage. I have seen no restricted access. I have seen no warnings from organizers. Yes, I'm reading this. I've seen no warnings to the public in any capacity. I have seen no attempt by the city or any other agency to clean the grounds. And I have seen no activity relating to mitigating this hazard. I'm not saying it hasn't existed. I'm saying I haven't seen it. So all of these things expose liability to the city, to organizers, to vendors. Potentially, I understand now that the marina is not being run by the city. They've offloaded it to another agency. So is this other agency, maybe it's the MNR, maybe it's them. But in any case, are all of these people, all of these agencies, are they not potentially liable? And are we not into an issue of deepest pockets? If the vendors, if everyone is sued, class action suit, if everyone is sued, the vendors, the people who put on the venue, the city, potentially, if it is the MNR who's now the operators of the marina, and I'm not sure it is. So if it's not the MNR, I apologize. But I was told the City of Peterborough has offloaded the responsibility of the marina to another agency. I thought it was the MNR. It may not be. In any case, we are, so one of the big questions comes up, did the city take reasonable steps to protect the public? And as with many lawsuits, reasonable becomes an issue of definition. Well, I have seen none, zero, nada, activities to protect the public from this potential SHIT biohazard. I have seen nothing. And if they have done something, then I apologize, but I haven't seen it. So this liability is not guaranteed here, but liability certainly is a potential possibility. So what a lawsuit would need to show, the city knew about the contamination. I don't think the city could deny that. Any judge or jury, I believe, would say the city knows. The city failed to act. I haven't seen the city do anything positive or negative or anything else to acknowledge this SHIT biohazard situation. The contamination caused harm. I'm fairly confident that it's if a lawsuit were to emerge, somebody or some group of people, maybe a class action suit from the people of Peterborough, would have to come together and approach a law firm to sue the city. But did this contamination cause harm is going to be an issue. So whether falling and slipping and sliding and potentially breaking an arm or a leg or something, that's harm, or whether breathing in this fecal dust is a harm. Surely it is, but has it happened? Was the harm foreseeable? I don't think anybody in their right mind would say that walking in SHIT is not a foreseeable harm, and the harm was preventable. That's a question. And I believe that there are opportunities and actions that could occur to stop this event. I'm not sure what these things are called, bangers or controlled explosions. They have them at the airports to keep birds and wildlife away from airstrips. I'm not sure what they're called. They don't kill the birds, they just scare them off. And I'm not even sure if hiring dogs isn't an option. I'm not sure what the options are, but it will take persistence, because these birds, geese, ducks, whatever, they're not going to go away in one event. It's probably going to take a season of harassing them to get them to go somewhere else. Is it possible? I think it is. And this potentially is the legal test. I think the two main things are, has someone been injured, and did the city do anything to help mitigate this problem? And has someone been hurt? I don't know. That would be interesting. Well, not interesting, but interesting to find out if someone's fallen and hurt themselves, broken a leg or arm or something like that. That'd be interesting. And was it preventable? I don't see anyone has done anything to mitigate the problem. So certainly the problem exists in other cities, other parts of Canada, but I'm not talking about a billion acres of land to keep these geese away. I'm talking about City Park in Peterborough, and I don't know the size of the park, but let's say it's 5 acres. It's not something that couldn't be done, but does the city have the motivation to do it? Well, I think everything in this world is motivated by cost and liability. And if the city has so far had no legal consequences to this stinking mess, then they're probably not going to spend a penny to remedy anything. It will take a lawsuit and potentially millions of dollars, and potentially the mayor and all of the other officers of the city would potentially be personally named in the lawsuit. Maybe then they would do something. But until that occurs, probably the city is going to allow it. But let's go a little further. The city is responsible for sanitation, hazard mitigation, public safety, environmental health, and event safety. And allowing these events to take place down at the park when there's potentially, yes, I'm exaggerating, potentially mountains of shit that people are walking in and breathing. They expose themselves to negligence claims, occupiers' liability claims, public health claims, and who knows what else. But it's a mess. So let me look at some of these things here. Let me have a look here. I don't want to make this a gigantic podcast. Not this one. Let me have a look. If this was to go to court, I think the question whether the judge or a jury is going to ask, was the city reasonable? Did they do anything? And my response as a layperson is the city did nothing. Nothing. They did nothing. So they allowed the situation to exist. For the last 2 years, it's been the same mess. I've seen the city take no action, nothing at all. It's almost like it's a black hole. The city doesn't know anything about it. They don't care about it. In any case, so examples of unreasonable conduct, and I kind of repeating this, but I'm going to say it again: allowing larger public events on contaminated grounds, failing to clean feces before events, ignoring complaints. I'm sure somebody's complained. Ignoring environmental health risks, failing to warn event organizers, failing to mitigate goose population growth, failing to restrict access to heavily contaminated zones. And a single sign doesn't relieve the city of responsibility. And I know it's a huge mess, a frigging mess, and I would almost make a wager nothing is going to change, nothing, until the city is sued. Right now, the city is just walking on borrowed time. Somebody is going to sue the city over that friggin' mess. Somebody. And there are solutions. And I'm not going to get to all the items I want to today. Maybe one of the solutions is this geese fecal issue seems to be where land adjoins or is adjacent to water. So perhaps the city needs to, if they wish to maintain that marina park, stop holding events there and holding other events at other sites off water where there are no geese. Now, I'm not saying I've seen land in Peterborough that's not on or adjacent to any public waterways, and I haven't seen any geese there. None. So maybe the city needs, for the sake of liability, the park exists. If they want to keep the park, that's the park. It's going to be covered in shit. That's the end of it. But there's no more events held there. No more people there. And there needs to be signs put up. Use the park at your own risk. And that's the end of it. And maybe the city needs to put up fencing with 1 or 2 access points and signs at those access points. Use the park at your own risk. It's an environmental disaster covered in fecal and urine and every other contaminant. Use it at your own risk. And maybe that is one of the solutions. But to continue having events at this shit hole is insanity. Pure insanity. So let's move on. I think there's gross negligence here. I think the city looks at it right now. This park situation is generating revenue to them. They've offloaded the care of the park to some other agency. Again, it may be the MNR or some other component of government. But my understanding is, from what I was told, City of Peterborough is no longer responsible for the marina itself. So perhaps Perhaps the city is just looking at the park as a cash cow. It sits there. They don't do anything. I don't even know if they cut the grass. Can you imagine cutting the grass and the mountain of dust and fecal dust that somebody's ingesting as they cut the grass? I don't even know. But it's probably a cash cow to the city, and they're not going to do anything until they're forced to. So, okay, so let's talk a little bit more. From what I can find out, a warning sign only works if people actually see it, which means the city's is going to be mandated to put up a fence. I'm assuming a 4-foot fence, a 4-foot standard chain link fence would be legally sufficient, but I'm not sure. It may have to be a 6-foot fence with 1 or 2 access ways with sufficient signage that any person with a few brain cells would see it and see the warning. The city's not going to get away from that. Airborne fecal matter makes signage even less effective. I mean, this dust is blowing potentially winds from the south and east would blow all that fecal dust into the city. So, I mean, there's an issue there. Having events at the park, that is another escalation point for city liability. Multiple entry points. The city's best defense is not signing its mitigation. 1 or 2 signs do not protect the city. If you want to have a look here. No, that's really in the city knows it. The city must know. I've made another point of this. The city of Peterborough must know. Somebody in the city, someone must have the expertise, environmental and resource studies or environmental issues relating to health, must know that airborne fecal dust, urine dust, and all this adds to airborne E. coli, Salmonella, Giardia, Cryptosporidium, fungal spores, parasites. The city must know. They must. And yet nothing is done. Okay, we'll have a look here. It is an environmental disaster. It really is. And it needs to end. There has to be some sort of resolution. Something. Let me have a look here. Apparently paid, according to the law that I can find, paid versus free events, the liability changes. A free event, a community gathering, city-hosted activity, public celebration still requires a permit, city approval, city oversight, city sanitation responsibility. And I'm going to make an assumption, and I'm not sure of this one, and that is that there probably would be police oversight here. And I would think it's reasonable that the police department is not going to be sending out air contamination or air purity checks. So any police officer there to kind of maintain a sense of order, they're at risk. I don't know any police department would want to put its officers at risk going into an SHIT hole or a contamination situation. But on the other hand, a paid event, a concert, festival, ticketed show, vendor market adds extra layers. We're looking at commercial activity, potential food vendors, potential alcohol permits, crowd density goes up, contractual obligations, insurance requirements, revenue collection, higher expectation of safety. I don't think there's any doubt. Higher expectation of safety puts a lot more onus of liability on the city and the vendors and everyone who's involved in the darn event. Apparently, when money changes hands, expectations of safety go way up. So, regardless of paid, whether the event is a pay or a free event, the city must issue a permit. Therefore, the city knows what's going on. They can't deny it. They know what's going on. That means the city is a legal participant. They allow it, knowing it's a SHIT hole. They know it. This goose, duck, bird species situation, it is a hazard. It's a present hazard. It's a foreseeable hazard. It's a past hazard. And why it's allowed to continue, to me, just shows the darn event, the darn situation is making money for the city, and they're going to do a gall darn thing until a lawyer pops up and gives them a multi-million-dollar lawsuit to knock them on their feet, off their on their behinds. In any case, okay, let me get down and look at some other points. I think I've mentioned a lot of things that I want to, otherwise I'm going to be repeating myself again. Hold on a second. So I'm kind of coming up to a conclusion. I'm not trying to make this a 10 or 20 hour podcast. Just want to make a point that city officials, there's my understanding is they're supposed to be people of maturity, potentially people with formal education, people with life experience. That they're people who are supposed to have a little more intellect and foresight into things. Not to say that any of them or all of them do, but you would think people or human people or society walking on grounds covered in SHIT wouldn't find that a potential liability. If I were a judge or a member of a jury, I would have to hear both sides of the legal argument. But at least at this point, I would have to say, from what I know now, the town is liable. They allow it to happen. I'm not saying there's the town hasn't got another side to it, and perhaps their side is that they have done everything humanly possible next to closing the park. And maybe that's what needs to happen. Close the park and just leave it as a wildlife sanctuary sort of thing. Fence it and put signs, use at own risk. The grounds are covered in SHIT. And maybe that's where it ends. Which brings up one more point. Probably 1,000 more points. One more point being boaters coming in off the Trent Canal system, parking their or mooring their boats in the slips, fueling up and gassing there, filling up their fuel tanks at the marina. They would have to be advised that the park is covered in SHIT and is a potential biohazard and a hazard to their health. So it's not just people coming in off Water Street. It's people coming in off the Trent Canal would have to be warned. There'd have to be signage. Let me go a little bit further. I'm going to come to a conclusion. This is not a simple, really easy situation to remedy. But with every problem, there is a remedy. But it relates to cost. Until the City of Peterborough, until the people who are applying for venue permits, until the vendors who are applying for sales permits, potentially any security company or the police force, they're being asked to come in and provide safety and security. Until all of these agencies understand the City of Peterborough is allowing a potential biohazard to occur and doing nothing, nothing's going to happen. And what do they say? If something's creating a profit with little to no expense, leave it alone. Let me refer to this legal firearms activity that all these firearm owners and hunters have been gone through HELL to get their permits. They've done everything legally and responsibly, and this I think I'm allowed to say goofy government. This goofy government wants to shut down and close a $500 billion industry. And unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't understand why the coincidence it is, but apparently international students coming into Canada to study here, it's another $500 billion industry, which this goofy friggin' government wants to shut down. So we're looking at potentially $2 trillion combined, a $1 trillion industry. Legal firearms and hunting ownership have all been, approved, and everyone who has all these permits has gone through background checks and so forth. And students coming into the country, they're bringing in hundreds of millions of dollars, and this government wants to shut it all down. Well, they spend trillions of dollars spending it like it's water, which they do, and I'm sure they don't care. It's not affecting them. They're paid their salaries every week. They don't care. In any case, it's the same thing with the City of Peterborough. That they've got an activity, the park, which brings them money, and their outlay to maintain the park is minimal to next to nothing. So they're not going to do anything. They're not going to do anything. I think somebody or some group or the people of Peterborough coming together as a class action suit have a huge lawsuit against the City of Peterborough. Huge. And if I was a lawyer, potentially I would go after the mayor and all of the councillors and the people issuing the permits. They all know, everybody knows. But they all close their eyes, say, give me the money, money. So, I don't know. In any case, I would like to use some profanity, but I think, I'm sitting outside washing my vehicle, and I hear kids that have got to be under 10 years old are using the F word, and they're using profanity with their parents, with their peers, and their friends that adults don't use. Like it's F this, F that, screw this, screw that. The two-word acronym is MF. You can figure what out it is. But I mean, I don't think YouTube allows me to use those words. But this is not language that's hidden. It's public domain, and I'm not using it in a vulgar way. I'm using it to express my outrage. I just think it's, if you'll give me the latitude to use the term, it's wackadoodle. It's frigging nuts. So, in any case, I'm going to bring this to a close. I think the bottom line to all of this is it's multifaceted. There's no single bottom line. Bottom line is there is a hazard at the park. I think there's a physical hazard. I think there's a biological hazard, and I think it's clear the City of Peterborough has closed their eyes to it. And they're not doing anything, at least not that I'm aware of. And if they are doing anything, I apologize. I'm not aiming fingers at anybody. I'm just saying I think when something is occurring which has potential negative ramifications to your community, I think you need to step up and do something. And I don't see it. I think sometimes we have to put human safety ahead of money. In fact, I think there's lots of occasions we have to put human safety ahead of money. But that's never going to happen. And as everybody knows, gravity doesn't exist. Einstein's E equals mc squared in the unified field theorem. It's all baloney. Time travel, the speed of light, 186,000 miles per second. It's all crapola. The only thing that matters is money. Molar, money. Nothing else matters. We've gone insane. It's plain goofy. So I don't think there is any bottom line to this. It's a diverse, multifaceted. Parts of it are unknown or unclear. There are potential remedies, but without someone going to open up the coffers and spend the money, a resolution is not going to be found. Possibly the quickest solution is stop using the park as a location for venues. Move it into another location in Peterborough, away from water, where there aren't ducks and geese and other wildlife. Move it to another location. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think the park needs to be fenced off. I'm not sure if a 4-foot fence. I believe that in some communities, in some cities and towns, a 4-foot fence around a swimming pool is legally reduces liability to 0. If you put the fence up to 4 feet and someone jumps the fence and drowns, that the owner is not liable. I could be wrong, but if that is in fact the case, then the city needs to consider putting up a 4-foot chain link fence, sign it, have 1 or 2 access ways, put signs up there about the potential biohazard, and then the town at least reduces, if they don't eliminate, at least they reduce their liability. I haven't seen any signs down at the beach. It's a lovely beach. People should be able to go there and put their toes in. I wouldn't go down there for $1 million. I was down in Venezuela on a vacation one year, and I was down at what was the little town? Give me a second. I was down at darn it, my memory fails me. But I was down at this major resort, but in an island. What was the island just north of Venezuela, the mainland? It was, can't think of it. In any case, I met 2 other Toronto people who became close friends, and we wanted to go scuba diving. Well, the boat was anchored offshore, so we had to swim out to the boat, and down in this island, at this part of the island, I wish I could remember the name, they just pumped their sewage right out into the water, right into the ocean. So we had to swim out through chunks of sewage, and it just stunk. It stunk like like someone had, pooped into a pail and left it there for a week. It was sickening, and we all got sick. We were sick for 2 weeks. And that was just, but we didn't intentionally breathe it in. We just got it on ourselves. So you can't go into the beach down at this marina park. You can't. You're gonna die. In any case. So that's kind of the end of this podcast. I want to bring something up just for consideration. And by the way, I would enjoy running for Prime Minister, and I would run on a mandate that every senior citizen, and I'm not sure today of the definition of a senior citizen, I'm going to assume every senior citizen who was, now I got to be careful here, but every senior citizen who was born in Canada, who is of the age of 65, is entitled to $5,000 a month every month. And if you can't multiply 5,000 times 12, that's $60,000 a year. There's no more OAS, no CPP. That's gone. Every Canadian citizen or who is age 65, was born in Canada, and has lived their lives in Canada and paid tax throughout their lives to Canada, is entitled to $5,000 a month every month for the remainder of their lives. And there's no school tax for senior citizens, and there's a mandatory, I don't know what that level would be. Let's say a mandatory home ownership tax reduction of 50%. So let's just hypothesize the average tax, real estate tax or homeowner tax in Peterborough is $4,000. Let's just say it is. Then senior citizens only pay $2,000. Senior citizens have worked all their lives to create what you see out the window. They've paid their taxes for 40, 50 years, 50 plus years. They've contributed, they've built, they've been part of society. When they become senior citizens, they're entitled to a little bit of respect, a lot of care, and they should not be shuffled off into a retirement home where they sit in diapers and fed baby food and treated like garbage. My platform would run on treating senior citizens with the respect and care they deserve, and I mean it, deserve. No school tax after senior citizens. Half of the property tax, whatever the property tax is, it's cut in half. I think they should be given free access to public transit and $5,000 a month. No OAS, no CP, that's gone. And the government knows immediately who's a senior citizen. They know. That would be my platform. And someone out there is going to say, well, what about if people haven't been born in Canada? Well, I work on a stepped or a tier system. Assuming your working life, let's just be hypothetical, starts, because nice easy numbers, starts at 25 till 65. That's 40 years. So let's say someone coming into Canada at 35, they contribute 30 years. Someone coming at 45 contributes 20 years. Someone coming at 55 contributes to the Canadian economy for 10 years. Well, so if you're here for 50 years, you get the full $5,000 a month. If you're here for 10 years, you get $500 a month. If you're here for 20 years, you get $1,000 a month. You know, make it proportional. What you contribute is you get out. If you contribute for the full 50 years, you get 100% out, which is $5,000 a month for the rest of your life. And the extras, half your property tax, free public transit. I'm not trying to turn anything into a social state. Senior citizens have paid their dues. They've paid and paid and paid, and the CRA sucks up everything they invest. We paid at source. We paid when we take out. We paid when we buy. We pay, we pay, we pay. Enough is enough. We've got to do something. We can't continue. We can't kill our senior citizens. We have to show them some care and respect. If I was Prime Minister, I stand by this. And I'm too old to run. And like Kevin O'Leary said, I believe Kevin O'Leary said it more or less. Kevin would have been a great PM, a great Prime Minister, but I believe he said, or one of his advisors, constituents said, if you don't speak French, you're not going to garner the French vote, and you're not going to be elected Prime Minister. So Kevin, in his infinite wisdom, and I don't mean that negatively, I mean, he was right. And my French is dismal. It's not good. Mi español es mejor que mi français. Mon français no es bien. I don't speak good French, but my Spanish could be fluent. It was fluent. My point being is, I would enjoy running for Prime Minister. And I make a promise to you, if you're a senior citizen or you're coming up to the point where you will qualify as a senior citizen, I'll take care of you. And this is not an electoral line of BS. I'm just saying it for my own justification. Politics is not about filling your pockets. It's about taking care of people. And our senior citizens need care. Everyone needs care. But this freeloading, like I was mentioning earlier, this fella I know, 6'6" and 240 pounds. I mean, he could tear trees out of the ground without a backloader. I mean, how many people are like him, just sucking off society? And society is the taxpayer. We got to put a stop to this. Canada's everyone knows. I mean, everyone who wants to know, socialism doesn't work. It doesn't work. It can't work. It just doesn't. We need to run government like a business. If you take in $100, then you can spend $100, but you can't spend more. And any corporate business owner, anyone who takes an MBA in finance and accounting, anybody with common sense knows if you have a company and you bring in $100,000 and you spend $200,000, you're going to go into bankruptcy. You're going to go into insolvency. You're going to lose it, and depending on how your company is incorporated or not, you're going to be leaving yourself exposed to liability. I think the government needs to work under the same situation. This stuff where government officials, whether it's MP or MPP, they're filling their pockets with, is it okay to say bags of money? Look at Trump. Okay, everybody hates Trump. I don't hate Trump. I wish somebody in Canada would say MEGA. Make Canada great again. I don't hear that. I just hear, oh, we'll spend $1 billion here and $1 trillion there and $1 billion here and screw the taxpayer. Taxpayer always would increase their tax burden. Who cares? Now, in Canada, we think money grows on trees, or it's like blades of grass. There's more millions of dollars behind every blade of grass. It's nonsense. Trump doesn't take a salary. He doesn't take anything. And there is some talk, which probably will never pass, but there is talk in the U.S. about representatives and senators not taking a salary. They're there for 4 years to benefit the American people. And most of those senators and House of Representatives and Congress people, they're all millionaires anyway. So anyway, my point being is, in Canada, maybe we, the citizenry, need to say, if you're going to run for government, you're not going to be paid for 4 years. You're probably going to be a reasonably well-to-do person. You're going to live on your own resources. For 4 years, you're going to give back to the Canadian people and help the Canadian people. No compensation. And I don't know what the counterpart to MEGA is, Make America Great Again. Maybe it's, okay, I can't come up with a good 4-letter acronym, but I'd like to see somebody out there pounding the stump and saying, make Canada great again. All as we do is give it all away. Anyway, okay, so I said my piece. If there's somebody young out there who's going to run for Prime Minister, make it your position. Senior citizens, get rid of OAS and CPP. Throw it in the garbage. It's crap. Make senior citizens who've born and lived and worked in Canada for, let's say, from 25 after they get their education, when they start their career, till they turn 65, that they get $5,000 a month. It's not going to give them enough to buy a Mercedes or Rolls Royce or any other $200,000 car. It's going to give them enough to live like human beings. It will potentially give them enough so they can live in their homes until they pass. It's expensive out there, and it's getting more expensive all the time. And I say it again, anybody out there thinks I'm insane, okay, that's fine, no problem. I respect your opinion, but I'm not. You just wait till you become a senior citizen, or you find that you're 55 and your job is gone, and you look at your resources, and you're still paying a mortgage, and you're waiting to get your CPP and OAS, which combined, if you paid into it for the full amount for all of your life, what's the full amount? $1,500 or $1,600? Let's say you live on $1,500 or $1,600 a month for the rest of your life. I challenge you. You can't do it. You can't. So if there's any young people out there who are looking to run for as a political career, use some honesty and integrity. Yes, if you're honest, you probably won't get elected. If you tell the voter what's really going on, and your opponent says, yeah, I'm going to give you the star and the moon and the suns, I'll give you $10 billion a month, people are probably stupid enough to vote for the guy who's going to give them everything. But somebody out there one day is going to say, you're right. You're right. We need to take care of our senior citizens. And by the way, that's our mums, our parents, our grandparents, our uncles, our aunts, the people we love. And in time, it's going to be you. You're going to turn 65 and you're going to say, what do I got? You got nothing. Well, your elected officials, their pockets are so full of money, they're ready to explode, and you've got nothing. And you're going to be kicked out of your house because you can't pay. You're going to end up being a renter for a short period of time where you have nothing, or you're going to be shuffled off into a retirement home where you're going to sit in a chair, loading your diaper up, and you're going to be given baby food and waiting for someone to take you off into the morgue. That's how we treat our senior citizens now. It's got to stop. And like I have said, I'm going to end this. I would wish I could run for prime minister, but honesty and integrity in politics doesn't get you elected. It doesn't. You have to tell the taxpayer what they want to hear. Yeah, I'm gonna give you this. I'm gonna give you that. I'm gonna give you free this and free that. Like I don't know. It's complicated. When I grew up, I was always told honesty and integrity will get you where you want to go. And I don't believe that's the case now. I look at the court system. Okay, I'm rambling. I want to ramble a little bit more. Look at the court system as I start out showing the gavel and the balance. And the idea is justice is blind. Well, I challenge you. You may have a case which is airtight. It's perfect. But the person you go up against, if they're a billion or $1 trillion corporation, they may win because they've got the resources to drag it out. Drag it out for years and years and years. Justice is not blind. Justice is not fair. Honesty and integrity are nice words, and the balance of justice looks great on paper and in a nice picture and a little video. But I'm just trying to be honest with you. No one watches my podcast, and I understand why. They're elemental, they're rudimentary, they're crude, they're not well done. But I'm doing everything by myself, and it's not difficult. It is difficult. It's darn difficult. And trying to find the background green screen images, which that's a green screen image behind you, by the way, and trying to find good music, background music, to find it free is next to impossible. And I recommend anybody look at the podcast from Joe Rogan and from a radio station called 77 WABC, I think it is, out of New York. They're phenomenal. They're pure delight. They're so professional. I mean, they're great. And I can only aspire to come up to 1% of their excellence. But take a look at Joe Rogan. And I'm sure that Mr. Rogan doesn't do his podcast by himself. And he has people coming on, and they're a delight to hear their interviews. And this 77 WABC out of New York, it is, they say it's the #1 podcast in the United States, and I believe it. It's just phenomenal, absolutely pure phenomenal. Okay, that's it. I love you guys. You're great. Jeff, thanks for your motivation. I appreciate it. I'm trying to get my friend to come on and speak about what's happened when this fat talker came in, or smooth talker, or salesman came in and jacked him for just short of $20,000. He's a senior citizen, and he got SCREWED royally. And he's afraid to come on and speak about that because there's been new circumstances which has come to light. So now it was 17,000 initially. Now it's up to just short of 20,000. So he's been royally screwed, and he's afraid to come online. In any case, hey, you guys, take care of yourselves. Do the best you can. Start investing. I'm not sure if you should start investing now. I'm not sure if you should start investing when you're in your middle 50s. I'm not sure. But if you do, stick to mutual funds. Probably stick to mutual funds. Risk is lower, return is lower, but it's better than the bank's going to give you at 0.00001%. I don't think I would invest in the stock market at if I was over 55. I don't think I would. It's too risky. But any of you young people, like I say, nobody's watching, but any of you young people, if anyone ever does watch my podcast, consider investing within reason as soon as you're able. Even if you're paid every week, take from your disposable income, take $100 and just invest it in something. Let it grow. Don't touch it. Leave it alone, and just let it grow. Because in 40 years, that combined investments is going to give you a nice return when you go to retire. So invest as soon as you can. Mutual funds, I think, are when you're older, or if you've somehow got a few $1 million, and even if you're in your 20s and 30s, if somehow you've got a few $1 million and you're comfortable with that sum of money, I think mutual funds are a good way to go. Maybe next week I'll give you the story about a friend who came to talk to me about investment, and I'll share what a wonderful investment situation he's in. I just can't really believe it. He wanted me to give him stock advice. Well, after hearing his story, I said to him, "Don't do anything." I said, "You're in a wonderful program." Anyway, that's it. Okay, guys, take care. Try to have a good week. If it sounds too good to be true, I guarantee you it is. Don't look out for the scams. They're out there. They're crazy wild, and some of them are pretty good. So be super careful. Don't subscribe to anything. Don't send any money. Don't send any of your personal information. Don't do it. If you have questions, call your bank. Talk to them. See what's going on, if anything. But be careful, okay, guys? Because a lot of people are getting screwed. And it's really difficult. If they got your bank account number or a PIN number, it's difficult. Oh, just in close, I was told by a bank, I won't say which bank, I was told by a bank, it's always safer to put your PIN in than to swipe. Now, I always, 100% of the time, put my card in, put my PIN in. I don't care. People look and say, You can't swipe for $10 or $20. Yeah, I can swipe for $10 or $20, but I always put my PIN in. And a person at the bank told me, like a senior investigator, always better to put your PIN in. So consider when you're paying for something, put your dang PIN in. Don't swipe it. It's easier for scammers to grab your information off a swipe than it is off the PIN. Okay, that's it. I'm done. So have a good week, everybody. Goodbye. Let me change this over here if I can find it. Give me a second.
They're shining so bright. We're gonna dance through the night. Hands up, feeling the heat. Move your body to the beat. Step by step, we start to glide. In this moment, we can't hide. Music's pumping and hearts are racing. Let's keep this party never ending. We're dancing in the stars tonight, higher than the moon, taking flight. Feel the rhythm, feel the vibe. Together we can touch the sky. We're dancing in the stars tonight, higher than the moon, taking flight. Feel the rhythm, feel the vibe. Together we can touch the sky. Lights, they're shining so bright. We're gonna dance through the night. Hands up, feeling the heat. Move your body to the beat. Step by step, we start to glide. In this moment, we can't hide. Music's pumping and hearts are racing. Let's keep this party never ending. We're dancing in the stars tonight, higher than the moon, taking flight. Feel the rhythm, feel the vibe. Together we can touch the sky. We're dancing in the stars tonight, higher than the moon, taking flight. Feel the rhythm, feel the vibe. Together we can touch the sky. Lights, they're shining so bright. We're gonna dance through the night. Hands up, feeling the heat. Move your body to the beat. Step by step, we start to glide. In this moment, we can't hide. Music's pumping and hearts are racing. Let's keep this party never ending. We're dancing in the stars tonight, higher than the moon, taking flight. Feel the rhythm, feel the vibe. Together we can touch the sky. We're dancing in the stars tonight, higher than the moon, taking flight. Feel the rhythm, feel the vibe. Together we can touch the sky. Don't just say it when you're gone. Show up when you want. If you need me, you say it like it's nothing, like it don't hit me deep. But then you pull me closer, like you don't wanna leave. Your hands don't lie like your mouth does. You give me just enough to keep me right here waiting. But I'm done playing soft. You want me close, built for guessing games. If you want me, say my name. If you love me, say it back. Don't just touch me like that. Don't just say it when you're gone. And show up when you want. If you need me, say it now. Don't keep pulling me around. I'm not built for guessing games. If you want me, say my name. If you love me, say it back. Don't just touch me like that. Don't just say it when you're gone. And show up when you want. If you need me, say it now. Don't keep pulling me around. I'm not built for guessing games. If you want me, say my name. Don't just say it when you're